This week's episode is sponsored by Helio Gas Detection.
We're waiting for it all to collapse. Singing in this tragedy. This time we won't get back. That we won't get back.
Hey everybody, this is Richie from the Metal Cell Podcast. We're in Fred Zeppelin's upstairs in the green room, which is kind of the red room now as such.
Cocks.
Yeah. I've got Evan from Dead Cult Promotions. Thanks for joining me, Evan.
Not a bother, man.
And I've got Hugh and Brian. You'll recognise them if you're regular goers to Fred Zeppelin's and a few other scenes up in, I suppose, Dublin as well. Where haven't you hit at this stage?
Galway.
Well-travelled, yeah.
Haven't made us up to Waterford to see Simpos yet, though.
That's a good point.
We still need to get on that.
We still need to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a few places that you have to hit yet. So basically, this episode is really about, and I've said it I don't know how many times, just supporting the local metal scene, and we're going to look at how the lads got into the Cork metal scene. And Evan, you know, as you're here with Dead Cult as well, be a nice perspective to talk about having these two lads here going to nearly every fucking show. Like,
100%, absolutely. Like even just starting with that, is the reason that I kind of wanted to do this podcast. Was it's all well and good to have bands that are pushing it and promoters and everything. You put in all the work that you want, but a scene doesn't exist if there's not people going to it. And I think a lot of the time the kind of camera is focused on the bands and everything, but it's the people going, especially in Cork. Like it's very obvious there's a different vibe here to everywhere else, and that's because of the crowd, and especially the 2E. It's like I'm very aware of how much money you've spent coming to Dead Cult's gigs and like merch that you've bought and grief ritual. But that shouldn't go unnoticed by bands, you know, as in there's people that are showing up, and if people stopped going, you know, there's a lot bands can learn from ye, because at the end of the day you're the ones coming. So I'm very interested to kind of hear what things have worked for ye at gigs, haven't worked for ye, the fucking weirdest stuff you've seen.
So maybe we just do background first of all on the two of you. Maybe if you start first, Hugh, and you know.
I've been in and out of the Cork music scene for some time, really since the late 90s. I'd suppose. Like, I've been going to gigs up and around the Wolfhound and Nancy Spain's and
Krushkin,
and out in the Phoenix, or on Phoenix as it's now called, Il Phoenix in fact. So it's gone through many name changes, but there's been certainly a lot of ups and downs throughout the Cork music scene, both punk and metal, but generally speaking, Cork has one of the tightest, I think, scenes about in Ireland. Right. There's always good stuff coming out of it.
Yeah, I think ebbs and flows there is the word there, you know. Brian, what about you?
Like, just, you know, my first time up here in Fred's was maybe 97 or 98. I came in not knowing anyone, I just knew it was a rock and metal bar. Yeah. And I walk in, I'm wearing my Dead Kennedy shirt, I sit down at the bar, and instantly there's people at either side of me just talking to me about music, Dead Kennedys, love them. And that was my introduction to the Cork scene, was people were just friendly. Yeah. That's the atmosphere I got. You can get up and talk to anyone you notice a band t-shirt or patch that you're into it too. There's a conversation right there. Yeah. And that's one thing that hasn't changed over the years, because like I was saying to you, I was out of the scene for a very long time. My first gig back after, I'd say, nearly 15 years was an Easy Company show there about 2.5 years ago. Yeah. And once again, I just went upstairs. It's like I didn't know anyone. Went along with Hugh. The two of us were like, okay. But people were just coming up. I has my jacket on. I has a Days and Days patch along the back. Somebody comes up, starts talking about Days and Days. I go up. I go up talking to the guitarist from the band. You know, you know, and just very welcoming, very nice, and like he was very appreciative of people coming out and just giving the band a go.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there is that kind of attitude with a lot of the bands in Cork, that they see the same people the whole time. It is a small scene.
Yeah.
But I like that for it, to be honest. Like, there's a nice little core of people that you're pretty much guaranteed to see out.
I think that thing as well, I say it all the time, but it's like, Cork is different, we know that, but it's like, I think Cork's the only place in Ireland that people that are like living here or from here will tell you how amazing it is, where everywhere else you just talk about how much of a shithole the place they live in is. You're from, like, it's kind of like everyone hates where they're from and Dublin. But Cork is like, you have to love Cork. Like, Cork love Cork, but they hate Dublin as well.
Yeah, but like, just, you know, even just for those that are watching there, breaking into a scene such as Cork, what would be your kind of perspective on it? You know, so someone that we'll say maybe is just after, like, and I know I was only on to Freddie actually from Nomadus. He was on about his mate moving across to Ireland and what cities would you recommend? You know, I'm going, yeah, of course, there's some great scenes here, but like, just talk about maybe someone moving into Cork for the first time and liking their,
how would they get involved?
Yeah, how would they get involved?
I think a big thing is like, wear your heart in your sleeve. If you're going along to a venue and you don't know anyone there, like I said, just wear a t-shirt with your favourite band. If you've got patches in your vest, wear your vest out. Definitely, someone's going to pass comments. Yeah, someone's going to notice, like, oh, I like that band as well. I haven't seen you before. Do you come to one of these shows?
Tried and tested.
Exactly. It just it works. Like, just be open to talking to people and to actually taking the plunge and initiating that conversation, because I know it can be very daunting. You can get very shy about it, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to be talking to someone sound down here.
Yeah,
you know, that's,
and there's always almost guaranteed to be some kind of middle ground.
That's it.
Depending on if you're at the same gig, you know, there's obviously some kind of like thing that's going to connect you here. Yeah, and Cork is great for that. Just being able to,
totally,
because we fucking love talking.
But I suppose, like, even in a city like Cork, there's always going to be 2 core venues, which is Fred Zeppelin's obviously, and now Dally, which is coming through. So I would suggest is also that people do a bit of research.
Of course,
there's always local characters there as well that are approachable. You know, someone like yourself, you know, or someone that is even in a record shop, like Bunker. You know, they'd be more than helpful just to point you in the right direction, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is, always don't be afraid to branch out as well. Go to different things. Like, there's a load of different promoters happening around, obviously Deadpool, but like also like Narrow Door Records. Yeah, they'd be putting on gigs and
shout out there,
Shawnee Buttons as well. I don't know if they're still going with it. I believe they are.
There's a lot of aspects covered. It's not just one style.
One style. There's something for everybody in any scene, really.
I think that's a great thing about Cork as well. That I think the difference is, like, Cork is small, and as you mentioned earlier, we do see each other all the time. That I don't think Cork is the size. Like, there's a lot of music in Cork. Huge amounts.
Not enough venues though. I think that's a big problem.
That is a problem.
And it's like, we don't have like a segregated scene here for, you know, hardcore here, metal here, punk here. It's all just...
Yeah, that's another point there, just navigating gatekeepers. Like, I don't think there's any as much...
I think if you're going to try gatekeeping Cork, you're
going to get a reputation.
No one's... You're just going to get laughed out of it. Like, I don't think anyone... It's cringy doing that shit. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't think anyone would relate to it in Cork.
I haven't encountered this, but then again, I'm an older white man.
Yeah.
You know, so like, you know, I'll just speak to my privilege here. Like, But I'd say, look, it would be obviously for younger people, especially getting into a scene these days, when most bars are over 20s and over 21s. That's a thing that's changed hugely since the late 90s, early 2000s. The crowds at shows has gotten older. Like, an awful lot of younger people, they might, maybe they don't know about us. Like, metal and punk were much bigger in the 90s, of course. They were all over the place. Now there's just so much competition. There's so many different styles of music. There's so many different things and so many blended styles that have come along over the last 20 or 30 years that the subcultures are getting smaller.
Yeah,
There's
but
definitely an aspect of
smaller
that.
almost in a way where it's molding together into
At the same, yes.
like a giant one. You know,
Yeah.
like genre is really starting to become
Fluid.
fluid and somewhat irrelevant. You know, for better or worse. Because again, as I was saying, with Cork just not having any segregated scene specifically of oh, you only live over here, you only live over here. It's the same way as like I just find that's almost insulting to people's intelligence, being like when you listen to music, it's like playlisting. Like I have hip hop and stuff, I'll have singer-songwriter things, I'll have death metal, I'll have hardcore, I'll have same way as I'm gonna go see those.
Yeah, totally. If
It's
Total
just
Eclipse of the Heart comes on the radio, I cannot sing. I cannot not sing along to it. I mean, you can't just listen to one thing the whole time. You'll have your things that you're really into, but you have to be open to, especially in a scene like this, open to new experiences.
Yeah. And I would be the perfect example of that, being 53 now, and fuck it, I was coming from a trash metal kind of scene the whole time, and especially getting back into the whole Cork scene when I moved back from Dublin. It was the explosion of the sludge scene, and I was just going, what the fuck, but like again, the quality of the bands that were playing it were so good, you just get sucked into it and you're going, fucking hell, I actually enjoy this music. And then as the Cork scene developed, there's a load of crossbreeding of genres and stuff, and you're going along looking forward to the next new thing that's there, and that's very important for people as well, just to remember that we're not confined to fucking a Dead Cull show. Is not just going to be a heavy metal show. There's going to be punk, there's going to be hardcore, there's going to be, and they're all going to be combined together to make that experience really unique for the one night, and that's how you'll meet more people as well, because some people are just going there for one band but they'll stay for the others, and
I think even there's one band that really as a band summarises the Cork scene. I think that's God Alone. They're black metal, they have elements of hardcore, they're like new age folds, they do whatever, they're post-punk, and it's that the thought of what you have to do isn't there, it's what they're going to do in that time, and everyone's loving every second of it. And I always thought that that's a band that kind of encapsulates kind of what it's like to be going to gigs in Cork.
Oddly enough, I think that was one of the first gigs I went back to going to gigs again around 2019. Is there was a gig up in the art space up in the Blackpool again.
That
Lido.
was they had a launch thing. Was that for an EP or?
It was an EP. It was their second EP or something. I think.
I actually had him on the podcast for that. That's right.
And the Magna Piano were playing as well.
And there was all the it's the.
Where the fuck was that?
I walked past it every day.
Hall.
Like they have all the stuff, the puppets, the massive puppets for all the parades and things as well.
Is that not where they keep the Dragon of Shandon?
That's exactly where.
So that was your first one back, Hugh, is it?
Yeah,
I think that was one of the first times back going to gigs, like around 2019.
Jesus, that's mad.
Yeah, I mean, I'd kind of dropped out of the scene around 2012 for a while because I had a bit of hearing problems, and there was other things going on at the time, but I just went straight back into it when I arrived back in Cork. I managed to land a place out here, and the first thing I wanted to do was just get straight back into it again.
Yeah, good choice.
And what was the kind of going, from being out that long, what was the kind of first immediate things that you started noticing that was different from from where you stopped to where you got back on?
I mean, oddly enough, I didn't think there was too much of a transition, because I kind of knew from previous experiences that Cork would always have a good music scene. Yeah. It always has, even since before my time, even in the 70s, I would have thought. But like, I just found that like the guys in the Magna Piano, I'd known them for some time before that in bands like Sludge or Queen Kong, that kind of thing, Five Will Die. Yeah. And to see that kind of thing back on stage again was an eye opener, really. Yeah. But also God Alone, I had no idea who they were. I was going in blind, and I thought, this is just great.
Yeah.
Great seeing that kind of thing up on stage. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting there when you were talking about Magnapina and then like Howard and Alan have been around for so fucking long in this scene as musicians, like they're the best people around, and you know, long may that continue.
That's life, like,
you know, it's brilliant,
like,
to have people like that.
As well.
Yeah, so like there's another thing as well about the scene is bands not playing the whole time in the fucking one scene.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's also important. Yeah, you need a bit of a break in between times.
Yeah.
I think that's something bands actually sometimes can like forget about, that there's that difference of like, you know, wanting to play, but like, and I'll say it here, there's some bands that need to stop doing fucking the Fred's tour and doing 3 nights in a row in Fred's. It's like, but that again comes down to the lack of venues that we really are rectifying now, with Dali being, you know, a viable option.
That's a big deal, and the Kino as well.
The Kino as well.
Last
Kino,
couple times I was at the Kino, was a fantastic night.
Yeah, God Alone was the last one that I was at as well. But you know, we are in a position now that things, like even when we just had Fred's, we still made it work and showed what Cork can do by, you know, with the people coming to the gigs, and you know how people react to bands that they've never heard before. Again, as you said, it's just that you want people to do well. You know, it's like when people play in Cork, the crowd's not looking at them to like be like, impress me. They're like, you can do this. Like, let me hear one thing.
I think that's a thing that Dublin definitely suffers from. I've heard numerous bands say to me on the podcast off camera that fucking Dublin crowds impress me.
Yeah,
you know, they're standing back. Whereas, and I'll just bring Ian again, because like he went to the punk gigs up. Was it in Bowes Stadium?
Bowes Stadium.
Can you just talk about that?
Honestly, I think it's one of the more inclusive places to come and go to gigs.
Yeah, it's Conor Koresh.
Conor Koresh,
He's doing an excellent job.
Now, a big thing he prides himself on is he doesn't need security at his gigs. It's self-policing. Like, there's occasionally something small, but look, how many times, like I was up there 3 or 4 times this year, you were up there 4 or 5 at Bowes. They had so much on this year. Loads. And there was only one time I saw a bit of hassle, but
that's just the nature of having too many
so many people
together.
That's it.
Like, we went up for like the Restarts plays 2 days back to back. They played the Saturday and the Sunday, so that was 2 nearly full days. Back to back bands, people there going raucous, people who don't know each other in a pit together. You know, somebody gets a stray elbow in the wrong place, tempers my flare. It did not happen once. Everyone just had the best atmosphere. It
seems that, like, I haven't actually managed to go to one of the shows, but they're always absolutely jammed as well, which is so good to see. You know, it's one thing when you're seeing like venues filled and everything, but this, when you're doing it in a place like Bowes, and it is that like complete DIY feel to it, and just every single time there's more and more people showing up to it. You know, it really does kind of to show you that you might not everything needs to be that, you know, here's the kind of front and center thing. There's always things hidden everywhere.
What does that come under? What promotion? Or is it, what is it? Is it an actual yearly event, or what is it?
Well, the last one that was organised by Budgie Core. It's Eddie Nils.
Oh yeah.
But other ones, I'm pretty sure, like the previous ones, like the Oi Fest, that's just Connor.
I think it's just self-financed as far as I know.
So it's just punk hardcore, basically.
Punk hardcore.
Okay. Well, the last one was been like just Oi, pretty much.
Punk. Oi Fest.
Which is, it's great that we have so many bands in Ireland that you can put together a whole festival of Oi Punk. It's just
regularly
bizarre. Like, it's
absolutely
great. It's fantastic. Like, but never thought I'd see it.
Easy Company were playing up there as well. We
just had to leave
before they played.
Just getting the air coach back. It's just too expensive to stay there these days. Like,
with regards to that, now this is something with having again Grief Ritual over and like being over in the UK more. It's when UK bands come over here, their mind is blown that our gigs are so late.
Yeah.
It's like, I think everywhere else, you're looking at around 10:30, latest 11, everything's over.
And then they put a club night on in the same venue or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
That's-
that kind of thing.
I remember I went to like years ago. This was when I was first going to gigs. I think it was the first time I noticed this was when a few of us went up to see the Vandals and the Ataris.
Yeah.
This would have been around 2000, 2001. We arrive up. The gig finishes at like 10 or something, and we're all shunted out.
Yeah.
And there's a queue of people dressed up in their glad rags, you know, with their
Yeah,
party
yeah,
razors and their vodka Red Bulls ready for a DJ night. You know, so
Swap them out.
it was so bizarre.
But how would you feel if that was, because I know, you know, we'll say Cypress Avenue have
Yeah.
the 7 o'clock start.
Yes.
How do you feel about,
Well,
because
myself personally, like I live down the country, so I'll usually get the last bus home, or else it's a 35 or 40 euro taxi. That last bus is at 10 to 12, so that's why I love midweek gigs for that, because they have to finish at 11:30. So I don't have to hum and haw. It's like, 'cause I think the last one that was really torn about was like when Burner were playing here.
Yeah.
It's like a clock. It's like, oh, they're so fucking good.
Yeah.
Are they 40 euro good for the next few songs? You know, it's like, is this? But there's always that in your head. So it's either earlier gigs or maybe later bus Aaron. That would be lovely too.
Yeah.
definitely be
Nice.
earlier gigs for us. I think as well with that, and this comes to, it's very Irishism, where like I've talked to people like the UK and like in Europe as well. I think in Ireland, like we have that, whether we realise it, we still do or not. Like I'd collapse now if I was doing it, but the pre-drinking thing, where it's like people want that thing a little bit later. I remember, you know, doors would be like 9, 9:30. I remember the first time someone did 8:30 doors, and everyone was like, "Oh fuck! What the? How am I gonna get down?
I'm gonna have to shotgun those cans.
Yeah.
You
It's like,
know?
how are we gonna do this?" You're like, people will be showing up at like, literally getting there at 11 p.m. You know, where like, but you'd still get loads of the gigs. Personally, now, fucking love to be home earlier. Like, do you know, it's and people have more energy rather than waiting a whole day and getting pissed. But
Maybe we should do what the Cypress Avenue do. Maybe you can do over 35s gigs. You know, it's like, so, no strobe lights, keep the music down a little
Seated.
bit, early finish, seated, yeah. Nice cushions.
yeah.
But I love about going to gigs now as well is just, even we were on about the Kino there, like the mix of people from all over the world.
Definitely.
It was fucking crazy. It literally took my breath away. I went, what the hell? Like, this is class. Like, we're like these people, like, they need to float around to other gigs now, and you know, hopefully that'll work. You know, because that Kino gig was a great gig. You know, so you're looking for stuff like that now that'll happen, that they'll transition across to Dali maybe, or to Fred's as well. You know, and a lot of these are Portuguese, Brazil, you know, Eastern European. Is fantastic, like, you know, just to get these people in the door as well, and they're kind of figuring out themselves, you know, what bands they like as well, you know, so, you know, they might also be bringing skills to a gig. You know, sometimes people like go to gigs and, you know, they want to be part of the scene, and how could they contribute to it? It certainly happened with me with the podcast, but like, also these people are going that are web designers, photographers, they could be fucking people that could write reviews on bands, you know, so like,
absolutely, that's a massive thing. And
we don't have enough of them, for sure.
No, like, even we have like Simon, Connor Bradley, who was always going to the gigs, always, like, recently he's kind of taken up photography, and he's just got so good so quick. And like, I've had him do Dead Cult stuff, but if someone wants to get involved in the scene, you don't have to be, you wouldn't have to ever played an instrument in your life. There's photography, reviews, you know, if you want to start a zine, like, you know, you have the
comic,
there's so many different ways that you can be involved. It doesn't have to be just going to the gig.
I'm going to say this on camera now. Hugh, you need to set up a blog. He does the
everyone's
gig
been saying
posts
this.
that he puts up, like, they're so detailed. Like the review, there's such good, concise reviews. You definitely should.
I think
it doesn't always get out
everyone
in
said
time.
that. Everyone said that to you.
Time is a construct. It's whatever. But again, there is, like, you've seen it yourselves, like, and if anyone does have anything they want to kind of
Yeah.
to do, or you know, if they're curious about like, oh, I wouldn't mind figuring out how to do photography, I can guarantee you, if you get on to Connor or Simon or Dylan, they'd be more than happy to chat. You know, there's places for reviews. I'd be more than happy to invite people, being like, work away, like, you know, review, do whatever you want. If it's helping the scene,
yes,
you know, 100%.
exactly. Yes. Just one. Also, good etiquette in the scene. We're very much self-policing down here.
Oh yeah.
So maybe talk about that.
Well, there's a few times, like, I mean, I think there was a Dead Cult gig here not too long ago. There was a guy being a bit too raucous in the pit, like he was having too good of a time, but he would not stop grabbing people and bouncing around with them, and tempers were getting frayed a bit of time because like, would you leave me alone? But instead of being confronted and pulled and dragged, I forget who it was, just went over, gave him a big hug, spun him around, and brought him downstairs. You know, just he didn't even realise he was. Was that you? He didn't even realise he was gone. It was great. So that was a great way. I didn't know that was you. I just saw like the black hoodie and so the guy just being moved around, like. You know?
I think with that now, that was more. It was. There was a girl that came over and said that he had been handsy. So like. I'm glad it came across that I was very like, oh, because he was gone.
I didn't know that aspect of it.
But that again, like if you're gonna try do something that in any way makes someone feel not safe, you're not welcome. That's, you know, with etiquette. I think a lot of people in Cork have kind of that, you know, that built in the same way as we have transphobes or shitheads.
Oh, very nice.
It is it's a very welcoming scene. You know, I've said it so many times that even like when we started doing Dead Cult, that was post-COVID, so there was people showing up that were like 18, never been to a gig. Because COVID without gig, it was like we're talking 2 years.
But there were 21-year-olds who'd never seen the inside of a pub because they were just
exactly. And there was people that like kind of first time being outside as a trans person coming to a gig, being like, what's going to happen? I'm like, fucking, especially I love your bag, like, come in. Do you know what I mean?
Especially with all the stuff that you'd see online, and just realising that kind of vitriol that people spew over the keyboard, an awful lot of that, especially in scenes like this, you're just not going to come across it.
No,
if you come across it, like you said, they're gone. Like,
they're gone.
No place for it. No place for it.
Yeah, everyone wants to kind of protect our scene in the sense that we want to bring everybody in, but have no problem bringing the wrong people out. Having a safe space is massively important. I think
very much so.
If it's not safe, it won't last. You know, it's same with people that have shitty behaviour, doing shitty things. They should be called out.
I keep sinking deeper into this unknown.
Okay, so we were on about the etiquette. That's kind of really discussed there. We're not tolerating it, basically, any bullshit behaviour. Self-policing, it's ideal. We never talked about having bouncers in any scene in Cork as such. They're not needed, and they're unwelcome. I think it actually causes a lot of fucking drama, being truthful, you know.
It does. I won't say where or what band, but we were there, yourself was there. There was, shall we say, an overzealous bouncer. There was people just bouncing around, they were pogoing as a punk gig. It wasn't even moshing. But the bouncer, he was looking out at the crowd, he saw the long hair and the jackets and the t-shirts and the studs and the spikes and the chains, he thought, there's going to be a hassle here.
He decided,
he decided beforehand, he's like, okay, I'm going to be preemptive here. And it got to the stage where the band actually had to say from the stage, look, would you just let them dance?
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, we don't want to bring that into it.
I think even if there is, if a venue insists on having a bouncer or someone there, I'm fine with that as long as they're, like say in a sound check, willing to meet with the bands and promoter and them explain, be like, listen, this is what it happens all the time in the US and everywhere. They sit and they're like, look, this is what you're going to see at the gig. Do not worry. If people fall, they'll be picked up. The only time you need to get in is if there's like actual slaps thrown or there's certain, but 95% of it stand back because someone coming in and dragging somebody down, crowd surfing, that's what's going to cause an injury, and that's what's going to cause a problem. I think injuries can happen. You had your
I had a few,
actually, injuries and stuff.
I don't know how I haven't had more, to be honest.
You are airborne for most. You're like, it's like you just land so perfectly. It's like you at the back of your head gashed open at once.
So well, things like, man, I remember like that back. The Phoenix was mentioned earlier. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, stage diving off the mezzanine into the crowd. But I was in my teens and early 20s, and I don't have rubber bones now. I don't think my actions and demeanour, I think, have not caught up with my physical frailty. So
it's all here, man.
So first of all, I suppose the first one was I slipped in a spilled beer and got a gash across the back of my head at a Days Irish gig. For who was supporting for that? That was about 2 years ago.
I think that was Easy Company as well.
Was it Easy Company? Oh God, I've been to so many of their shows now. It's kind of hard to keep track. I cracked a rib. At another show, I cracked another rib at Bitter Pill, actually. I took a spin kick.
Somebody said that to me.
I took a spin kick to the rib,
Somebody said to me that on Saturday, someone said something about your ribs, and I was like, "Well, he seems fine." You were fucking
destroyed, But I suppose the big one was when the Hip Priests were playing, I slipped and went out to stop myself and didn't manage to stop myself. Clattered my head off the ground. That's where this lovely scar across my eyebrow came from. But I also broke my wrist.
Whoa! You clattered the head off the stage.
I clattered the head off the ground. Basically, I slipped and spilled beer. From whatever motion I took, my centre of gravity was my worst enemy. But again, this is a good thing about the scene now. As soon as the boys saw that happen, like Hugh and Connor dropped everything, dragged me out and dragged me down to the hospital, and I had to shout at them to make them go away because it's like, I am not going to be seen till the morning. Go get your kebab, lads. But they stayed and they helped out so much, and that's the kind of thing that I think we kind of want in the community.
100%.
And there's been other instances where I've been able to pay that forward, where someone's in hassle or somebody gets stuck for something, and I like doing it because it's happened so often to me in the past, not just that one instance, but over the years. That's the kind of people we have in the scene. It's really great.
Even I think on your, the Hugh posting for the gig on Saturday, like while the worn out intro was playing, one of the first things that Xander was saying was, if someone falls, pick them up. Look after each other, because
golden rule.
Like things are going to be mental, and you'll get people being like, why would you do that? And like, you get injuries. It's like people get injured playing football. People get injured playing hurling. Unless you're just going to sit and do like the couch Olympics. But you break your back, like, you'll just stop working.
Look, you have to take a risk. Anything, like, I think it was Charles Bukowski says, like, choose what you love and let it kill you. Which is maybe a bit extreme, but like, I understand where he's coming from.
I've genuinely never fucking related to something more in my life.
The likes of you, Hugh, and Rowan as well. Terror Syndrome, give him a shout out there. Like, a lot of those gigs are you're just watching the lads floating.
I could just see Rowan going on
over there and back again, like.
When you're drumming, you can just see like pretty much like the front row, like, and you just see it. Tis
rare to get injured, and
what is
everybody's
what, like, speaking of like injuries, not even specifically injuries, there's a few kind of bests and worst, but like, what is the most odd or weirdest thing, or Interesting.
memorable, shall we say.
Memorable thing you've seen at a gig.
There was
ever.
recently enough. I think it was the Socialist Youth Group.
Yeah, there was a CYM gig.
The CYM, that's it. Yeah,
2022, I think it was.
Yeah, big crowd at that.
Big crowd at that, but
yeah, it's my first time seeing wheelchair crowd surfing in real life,
Yes.
which was class. Like, you know, I mean, the man was having a great old time.
He's
like,
dead
you know,
right.
Like, yeah, it's like class. More power to him, like, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
And I think craziest one is, like, were you at that Dropkick Murphys gig in around 99? It might have been.
don't think it
In
was
the
a lot.
South
Fuker Street, no?
No, it was in Spalpeen in town.
Oh, fuck it, no.
Spalpeen.
It was supporting. It was, but they were very small at this time. It was supporting their second album, Do or Die.
Jesus.
Was Do or Die?
Now,
this?
the
Yeah, Do or Die
Spalpeen,
was their
just
second.
for anyone that doesn't know, Spalpeen is like, I don't know, what would be the capacity in Spalpeen?
Slightly bigger than Fred's, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 100.
100, I think, yeah.
It's narrow.
So
Wow.
yeah, this was before they, you know, well, but this was back when they were a punk band.
Yeah,
I suppose, like, you know, they're more. Not sure what you'd call them now, but like,
Well,
they're doing well for themselves. Fair play, but I did prefer their earlier stuff. Like,
No, I said it out loud. No.
I was like, oh, he's gonna hate saying that.
yeah, I know. I
you
realised
prefer
as I
their
was saying, it's
earlier
like, I have it in vinyl. You know,
What happened? Or what happened?
people tore the place apart. Like,
Really,
it's then there's like there was bits of furniture flying around the gaff, and it's like I'm shocked that they still have gigs on there.
Yeah.
But there was people came out of the woodwork that I had never seen at a gig before.
Yeah.
Like, and they were in it for a good time, shall we say.
Yeah.
But I think that was, I forget who, or I think Conor Nelligan was involved in organising that, definitely. And he put on then Lagwagon and Bouncing Souls, like then the next week, which I'm
In
kicking my...
Spalpeen?
Was that in the Spalpeen? I can't remember if that was in the Spalpeen or not. It was definitely in Cork though.
I would
And
love to see.
I missed that
Lagwagon,
and I'm kicking myself.
Yeah.
But no, we used to have some great bands coming through. Like, there was one day in Nancy's, it was, what was this? It was Tiger Army, Lars Frederiksen and the Bastards.
Yeah.
And I think Dropkick Murphys again coming back, like this was like the next year or something like that.
Yeah.
So they got a bigger venue, like, you know.
That's cool.
But yeah.
Man.
And what was kind of the most mental thing that you've kind of seen, or?
Oh, there was certainly a gig out in Nancy, Spain's a while back, which was definitely memorable. Cryptopsy played, and Barry English out of Body Drum Crews and various other bands.
Many other bands.
Many
I
other
Need Your
bands.
Face.
Yes. But
Such a great
yeah,
Big inspiration for me, drumming.
Really,
growing
yeah?
up. Oh, I love them. Yeah.
Nice.
but
What
yeah,
did you
what happened there was your man had this thing where he'd go out into the crowd, have this chalice of actual live worms, and everyone would have to eat one. I declined at the time because I thought, Jesus, I'm not going to have that. Barry just went straight in, yeah, grand, yeah, I'll have that. Nom.
Jesus Christ, okay.
That was Cryptopsy and fucking Krushkin Lawn at that stage. It was mental.
And
There were so many mental gigs out in the Krushkin.
Yeah.
I saw Napalm Death there as well, like at one point.
Monomart.
That was
fuck's
absolutely
sake.
mad.
mental to think of that.
Monomart, yeah.
Architects.
Where's Exodus there?
Yeah, the
Exodus was there, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Exodus
at
played there
that
too.
yeah.
Like, if you think of the crowds that Architects are playing to now, like I don't really listen to them, but they're playing massive shows.
Yeah, I suppose them and Monomart to be the two biggest
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
For sure. Like,
I'm sure there's people
But
out
like,
that are
I also
getting
saw
rid of the
Destruction
type,
out there.
like,
Destruction played in.
yeah, we
and-
actually
Yeah.
we sang to Destruction. We sang. They were, you know, because there's no room in the Krushkin, so they were just at the barrier on the other side. Like they were like literally spitting distance away, and they were looking out at us, and we were singing one of their songs to them, and they were just clapping. And fucking hell, this is brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like there you go. It's just evolving scenes throughout the years, and the likes of all of us have been there and seen it right through, you know. So it's exciting times what's coming ahead, and so you know, let's all stick together on it really, and do our best to, you know, get the fucking bands in, and you know, we'll all be still going.
I do have to know what is the worst gig that you've been at?
Oh,
There's
to be
no
honest,
way I'm not getting this out of it. Like,
to be honest,
there's too many.
I can't think of anything that was shocking
Train wreck,
bad.
like, yeah.
I mean, even if there were bands I didn't like in the building, there was always someone that I appreciated.
Yeah, look, there's.
I don't think
Something that just fell apart,
I don't
like-
think I've ever had like the closest I suppose would be when Dylan broke his leg on stage. You know, I mean that was the worst
That was
thing
here,
for
wasn't
different.
it?
That was here.
That was
That was
here,
here.
yeah.
That was for a different reason.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think he broke. I think he like it was a dislocated knee, but I think he tore some things as well.
Yeah.
He fucked it, and he medically
destroyed
fucked
it. Like
yeah.
oh, the poor fella. Like he was.
Was there any gigs that you actually saw band members fighting on stage?
don't think so.
Some arguments definitely,
Definitely
but
arguments.
people were very professional about it. I didn't see
Yeah.
anyone landing slaps. There's an awful lot of that in the news these days, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Didn't your man from Alien Ant Farm get a smack there?
Yeah, he did.
No, yeah, he did. Your man from
And then there was the
CKY,
other one, yeah.
Jane's Addiction was the.
That was the other one.
Yeah,
That was
that's
the
what I was thinking of,
beforehand.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
So that's okay then. They haven't really.
Yeah.
We need. I'm not gonna lie. I'd love, as long as it's not one of my gigs. I'd love to go to a gig and see two lads puck the head off each other because someone played an E when they were supposed to play a G. Be like, fucking get up.
As far as worst gigs, not exactly a worst gig, but certainly the least attended gig I've ever been to
Oh,
was
I know
a
what you're
gig
going to
in-
talk about. Yeah.
there was a gig in the Pruskian Lawn where
Yeah.
Unsane played. They played to about 13 people.
No,
In
there
fairness,
was,
you were telling us about
Metallica were playing the same night.
night.
Up and
You,
down.
yeah. We played with them before. You were like, the last time they played it was like 13 people. And I was like,
yeah,
oh.
Donny Goggin, shout out to Donny, another fucking man that has gone to so many amazing bands throughout the years. He was at a Japanese band and I think there was 5 there.
No.
You know,
5.
yeah, what the fuck were there?
Jeez, I'm even trying to think the
Japanese
least amount of people I've played
Okay.
to.
Was it Psy?
Psy.
It might have been Psy. I
5
think.
people.
I know, yeah, something
For
like that. It was
Psy? That's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah. Might have been Psy now or something like that, but
Jesus.
I'm sure he would be screaming at the screen going,
I've definitely played gigs to. The only reason there was people there was because there were the other bands
yeah.
and their girlfriends. Definitely played those gigs. Like, I don't think I've. Luckily, have I ever played to nobody in Cork? How many times have I played in Cork? I mean, I know in Kilkenny I've absolutely played to nobody.
Yeah.
And it's part of the
thing, like, yeah.
And trust me, I'm well aware it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm past that. That could happen anytime. I don't care how big the band is, that can happen anytime. Like, but yeah. So who is the biggest dickhead in the scene?
I told you it would be a hatchet job here.
There we go now, like, cancelled.
Something I'm very interested in seeing is, seeing as ye are, you know, you're at the gigs so much, what are things that you are enjoying seeing from gigs? What are you really hoping to see more of? You know, whether it be styles or how people are, or, you know, what are you kind of hoping for more of?
Interesting question. More of an awful lot more of the same. To be honest, there's an awful lot that's really working in the scene at the moment.
That's a great sign, yeah.
I'm seeing great stuff from yourselves, great stuff from
Appreciate
Dying
that.
and an Easy Company putting
Yeah,
on some
nailing it.
great punk shows.
Yeah.
Seethe are really up and coming now. I'm
Yeah.
liking what they're
Yeah,
doing. Who am I forgetting about now? Because like I says, like when you ask me about is there a gig that you didn't enjoy or your least favourite gig, it's like I can't actually think of one.
That's a good sign,
I've
yeah.
just always had a good time.
Yeah.
And I think an awful lot of that goes back to, once again, the scene itself. You're with the people that you enjoy spending time with, even if it's a band that, they're only alright, we'll still have a bounce around and we'll knock some crack out of it.
Yeah.
I said, we're not waiting for them to entertain us, they're the catalyst to us having a good time at the end. And that's what the scene should be. It can't just be all the focus, like you said, it's like, oh, somebody's smacking them, somebody else because they played the wrong note. I don't think there's kind of the atmosphere where that was happening here. No, there's no one standing here like this, staring at the stage, waiting for something to go wrong or waiting to roll their eyes. That just doesn't happen.
I think also one of the other things is I always come in to see the first bands on.
That's a massive thing.
That's the
That's
thing.
a massive thing.
I always come to support the bands no matter who they are, because if you don't have that, then what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
Well,
I appreciate that with you.
good example
You
of
do.
that.
You're very good for that.
Like 50-foot woman. The first time I saw that, we saw them.
Exactly, yeah.
Fucking
They were
the Edge
I
mentioned
was just going to say that. Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah.
In,
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I know we could have been at the same gig as him, like, you know, and just.
Actually, look like him.
But no,
Yeah.
wouldn't have seen them, like, say they were playing up, we had never heard of them. It's like, oh, they're
Oh, they're
opening, sure, why not?
legends,
Let's give it a
yeah.
go. And it's like, wow. So that's a gig by them I wouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, big fan of them. They're
Yeah.
really good.
really good.
Very hard working as well. They are
Oh, they're
always
brilliant.
playing, like.
Love them.
So
Brilliant.
get in early as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think I think that's one thing. If everybody gets in early, which I'm noticing more of, it used to be a very like doors or whatever. Like if we're doing a gig, we'll do doors at 8:30, first band 15 minutes later,
Yeah.
because depending on the venue, no one's going to go up there and just sit around wait. It just, you know, you're not going to wait an hour before upstairs. You'll end up just wandering and getting stuck talking.
Yeah.
But people that do come up on the doors, like we've had every single Dead Cult gig, luckily now at, say the doors are 8:30, there's 8 o'clock, people are trying to come up, you know, oh, can we come in? We've had bands travel down that are opening, play through a full house here, in Dali, like, you know, wherever we were doing shows, and that's massive thing with Cork. It's like people are like, well, I paid to see 4 bands.
Yeah.
I want to see 4 bands, whereas maybe I'm kind of looking at it more in what it used to be, where people would pay whatever. But that's like, this is back when
They just kind of dip in and out, like, more than actually being there for the show.
Like, because the cost of living was down here. But getting down early to see everyone.
Yeah.
And
Oh, speaking of which, like, fair play to yourselves, and I suppose everyone putting on local bands. Like, I mean, keeping the prices down is a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a tenner for 4 bands is ridiculous
In this
when you
economy,
think
it's
about it. Like, you
absolutely
know,
fucking amazing.
there's
Yeah.
sometimes you'll do like 12 because, you know, depending on the band, because
so if they're travelling over from somewhere,
Yeah,
like,
and
it's more expensive.
it's one of those things as well. If like, if you want things to grow and get bigger, you have to put on bigger things, and you know, because I feel like it would be insulting to ye to just keep everything at one level constantly, because there's no growth, and at the end of the day you want people to enjoy music and see music, and whatever you need to do to make that happen, that if you're going, like, you know, like sometimes we might have gigs at €12, we'll make fucking sure that gig is worth 20 though. Do you know what I mean? So it's, and to be fair, I don't think we've ever had anyone give out about if one gig is €12 or one gig is 10. They haven't said it to my face anyway. But I've never had anyone kind of give out. I think maybe this is a Cork thing again, but I think they kind of understand that there's obviously some other moving cogs with everything. It's like, 'cause I'm telling you now, I don't make no fucking wage off doing this, and no promoter here is like, you know, like nobody's coming out with an absolute wad of cash, kind of being like, oh fuck it, I've made this now, I don't care about anyone else. It's people like ye coming to the gigs and seeing the reaction, that it's like, oh, it's worth it, because the hours that go into making it happen, it's not just one day, it's 4 or 5 months.
Oh yeah,
up to
a lot
it,
of back and forth, a lot of communication.
If
lot
it
of
was an
putting out the
hourly
fire.
wage, it would be very illegal. Like,
So we'll wind it down, lads. I'm just like really grateful for you taking the time to
100%.
come on the
Yeah,
show.
no worries.
and,
Thanks
and,
for inviting us
here.
out. Like, yeah.
and to acknowledge your incredible work
yeah,
in creating a scene in Cork that we can be really proud of.
yeah. I think you are very integral to
Yes.
the vibe, and
Aw.
it's again. No, it's never lost on me, and a lot of people. I know Dinan as well is just constantly singing your praises from Easy Company, and like,
Yeah, they sound
you know,
nice.
Lovely lads, like,
Alex from Narrow Door, and like, you know, everyone doing shows. The fact that you're traveling, you would be in Cork, then the next day Dublin, next day Limerick. It's like
That weekend was both marvellous and head-wrecking.
But you did it, where
But I
some
did
people live around the corner
Yeah.
and just couldn't be fucked.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
know what you mean.
And it's like, well, if we had more like ye, people could probably make a full-time living off running shows and doing things. So it's never lost on any of us that what you bring to the scene. And I'm
Thanks, man.
heartfelt honest about that. We very, very much appreciated. Like, if neither of you are at one of the gigs, I'm like, what the fuck?
What have we done wrong?
Oh, I've angered the lads.
Check their Snapchat, lads.
Where are they? Yeah.
The only other event that I would be acceptable for you missing it would be your funerals.
So that's it, lads. Thanks to Evan, John, and crucially Brian and Hugh. And support your local scene. That's what we're about.